was kind of, even during the lockdown, whenever there was a chance, like for example Kerala.
Mhm.
So after the lockdown eased off, except for the containment zones, the other places the demand at least bounced back pretty quickly. So that was a
Okay.
healthy sign. Of course, what's been lost, I don't think we are going to recover that. And I see IDC and Counterpoint, all of these guys have revised their annual target for phones.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
haven't seen anything for the other categories yet, but phones obviously is a huge category in India, and hence we've seen that.
I mean, it's interesting that you talk about that because my next question was actually just going to be about, the very interesting Redmi Earbuds S launch that we just witnessed about a week back or so. Do you think, 2020, at least for whatever is left of it, will be mostly about virtual launches?
At Xiaomi, of course, we love our events. Of course,
Right.
it's pretty evident.
Mhm.
Uh, we've right from Manu to Raghu. I personally also love the energy that happens when it's on ground. However, considering the current conditions, I don't really see us doing a physical launch in person for the near future. I don't really see us doing an on-ground launch where we bring in a lot of people together, like what we used to do with,
Right.
say, the last big one was the Note 8 Pro.
Note 8 Pro. Right.
I don't think we can do that for the near future. And we were actually planning the Note 9 Pro launch to be a little bigger than that one. That was supposed to be
Right.
on 12th of March.
Mhm.
And we took a decision on, I think, on the 3rd or 4th of March, saying that currently this thing, which was the novel coronavirus at that point,
Mhm.
had made it to Indian shows. Even if there was one person, it was just one person too many uh, to have risked this entire system. And then we moved it online. We
Right.
had fun with that online launch as well. And normally, instead of those 2,000 people there, and I think about 40-50,000 people who used to watch us concurrently on online, at a given time we had more than 100,000 people watching us on the Note 9 Pro.
Right.
Now, Note 9 Pro was still traditional, but it was a stage launch. But we set up a stage in near our office, and we kind of did this. But that kind of sparked something, saying that hey, we are going to do this a lot more. How do we make it exciting enough?
Right.
And the Redmi earbuds idea was actually coming in from there, saying that none of us are in the same place, so we can't really do a stage launch anymore. But we are all still in this together. And it was the best product because it is inclined to music, and music is what kind of binds us all, irrespective of the language, irrespective of the region. And music is something that we could kind of use to, tie us all together while we were all in our, homes and things like that. So that was the idea to kind of do a musical launch, which kind of manifested into like this really cool rap. I think it's also to do with the audience that you're trying to reach. If they are taking time out to watch a product launch, yes, they want product information, but also that engagement. They want to see something new. And with us, I think we are always open to experimentation. So I don't know if we will have like a repeat of the Redmi Buds anytime, but we might always have like another cool launch and hopefully something cooler.
You've already touched upon this, but we were talking about how manufacturing had almost come to a complete standstill. So, I mean, how much of an impact do you think? I mean, impact in the sense that how long do you think will it take for a brand at the scale of Xiaomi to like bounce back in terms of iron out the supply chain problems?
See, certain conditions. So supply chain, I'm gonna put it as at least two key aspects. One is, or three aspects actually. One is the component sourcing.
Right.
Second is the manufacturing, and third is going to be the logistics to get things across. Now, any of these three, or the entire supply chain, actually will be benchmarked to the slowest of the three. As far as I see, from a logistics perspective and getting it to consumers and retail, it will take quite some time. I'm assuming mostly by the end of the coming quarter, end of Q3 or maybe Q4, for it to get back to like about 80-90%. So till there's a vaccine, of course, there will be areas of lockdown. There will be inaccessible paths, and there's going to be a control in terms of mobility. So that obviously is going to be a challenge, and that plows back into the next part, which is manufacturing. So from a manufacturing perspective, again, we should be able to get back to almost the same levels in Q3. So we are already kind of ramping up. The ramp up has been so far pretty good. It is a slower ramp up because we are taking all the precautions. So anyone who's kind of coming in is tested. You have anyone who's coming in across the state borders had a particular quarantine period. So we're just monitoring so that there are no outbreaks that end up happening. And of course, we need to keep our existing workers safe as well. So it is a slow ramp up, but hopefully we should be able to get that. And of course, all of our factories should be able to kind of come back up. The third aspect, of the first aspect in a way in the chain, is going to be the component sourcing. And from a component sourcing perspective, I think we are in a pretty good position. So almost about 65% of the value of a phone, for example, is locally sourced for us, which means that our partners who are making this in India are able to match the pace as at which our factories are working for most parts. Of course, certain aspects still have to be imported. There is no fabrication in the country. So if you need your processors and all that, they are still coming in from Qualcomms or MediaTeks, and I'm assuming a lot of them are coming in from Taiwan. So that obviously is still dependent on international trade as well as logistics there. But that should be lower risk, considering that most of those countries have also taken a lot of precautions. So in a nutshell, I think we should be at about 80-90% levels by Q3, looking at all these three conditions. So unless something else comes up.
Of course, you never know. Moving on the same stead, Xiaomi's also launched some a little different way to address the whole supply chain problem, and that is by improvising the retail initiatives because of the whole lockdown. How do you think this caters differently to retailers and the end consumers?
I think right now it was absolutely necessary because there's a particular limitation in terms of how many customers you should be having in a store of X size.
Right.
So if you're limited to like 3 or 4 people in, expecting people to queue up outside in the summer heat does not make sense.
Right.
On the other side, there are a lot of people who probably need a new phone or need a new TV, or could be just a power bank or a charger or something like that they need replacement on. But they might have people who are older than 65 in their households, might be having kids, and they don't want to take unnecessary risks just going out to get something in. So we introduced this MiCommerce, which basically based on your phone's geolocation. So once you go there, it will ask you for location permissions, and based on that, it will give you within a radius all the stores that are having Xiaomi products, and it also gives you a visibility into what they have. Now it's not really safe, right? So you don't want to go out, go to multiple shops, expose yourselves. So that's where MiCommerce comes in. And sitting at home, you're able to see, okay, who are the people around? For example, do they have the Note 9 Pro in stock? Do they have the Interstellar Black in the 6128 edition that I want? And if they do have it, I can place a query right then and there. So it doesn't have a payment issue. It does not have a payment gateway. When you place an order, the guy will call back confirming, saying that, hey, you guys want something like this, and deliver it to your doorstep, taking all the precautions. And once he delivers it, you can pay through UPI or card preferred, or even cash. But obviously cards and UPI are the preferred. This opens up a whole new channel. And in a way, you're getting the best of both worlds, right? So you're getting the convenience and the transparency of the online channel. And you're getting the speed and the familiarity of your offline or a neighborhood store. The way I see this is, right now it was a necessity. Going beyond COVID, it's going to become an additional source of income for all our partners, where not only are they catering to the walk-ins, but they've suddenly expanded the universe, and within a particular radius, everyone who's interested in buying a particular device, could be a phone, could be a TV, could be something else, could be a laptop in the future, they're able to see who all have it and maybe even order it.
If you could just comment on how big of a challenge it will be, especially given the fact that people will have lesser budgets to splurge on electronic stuff. Even if they are enthusiasts, they will have lesser money to spend on them. So pricing, of course, will come into the forefront when you talk about that. So how do you think that will pan out for Xiaomi as a company as well?
Yeah, so pricing is going to be a challenge. I totally expect that many discounts this year compared to the previous years. And there are a couple of parts to this. One, of course, the biggest hit that's coming in is most of the global trade, most of the global orders that happen in US dollars. The dollar has gone up sharply compared to where it was in the beginning of the year, and that puts a lot of pressure. Some companies might be able to absorb this because they generally work with 20-30% margin. Unfortunately, when we were going public, we went ahead and promised to all our fans that we are not going to make more than 5% on hardware. So we are limited on that. That obviously means that we do not have the flexibility to absorb, currency shocks like that one. So that automatically translates into prices going up. And along with this, of course, the GST has also gone up. Now it went up 50% from where it was. So that adds in a lot more. Overall, that means the pricing goes up, and the pricing goes up without anything more or anything additional coming in to us. So it's other variables that are actually taking away this extra money that's coming in. Now this will definitely have an impact on the consumers as well. I mean, yes, it is a challenging year. So we are obviously wary of different price points and what needs to be kind of addressed. We have been going slow from the phone perspective or the launches perspective. Even introduction of new TVs and all that have been a little slower because we are relooking at that entire portfolio to see what we need to do to make sense in the new structure. So that doesn't mean that we will not have crazy experiments or we will not continue to push the boundaries of tech, but we will tweak the portfolio a little bit so that it's still a balanced portfolio when it comes down to consumer choices.